All right, just so everybody knows, I've started recording, but keep talking for another minute or so.
Keep having your chit chat, but FYI, we're recording it.
Yes, right. Watch what you say, but keep talking. Why is my screen? I don't know if any of you saw over at the Student Learning Center at lunch today. Hardly anybody there. Really, there were very few students there. I was wondering, did the parade start early or something for tomorrow? I mean, the lunch was good, I thought. The other side of it is the weather's so good. That's what I was asking Gary. When do the Royals first play? It's the end of March. We still got 6 weeks to go of winter here, folks.
Trust me, it's Missouri. It'll come.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. That's why I'm saying it could. All right, we're at that time here. Let's start with a word of prayer. Just some things to share. Jackie sent around an email from Dr. Washington or about Dr. Washington. Let's remember her family in prayer. She's maybe come online. There she is. Jerry's with us today.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
You bet. But we heard that you had to step out. Go ahead, tell us.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I got to step out. I'm gonna have to hop off. We've had a close member of our family die in a car crash a few hours after the Super Bowl victory. And we're just kind of devastated. She was 23 years old, and we're just, I don't know. we're trying to hold our head up here, and I'm gonna have to hop off because we're having a balloon release at the crash site around 4. So I'm gonna have to hop off and get to the site where the accident happened.
Yeah, the Lord bless you as you go there and seek to encourage those that come. So remember her in prayer. You and her family. Other things for prayer, Dr. Bittner, as you can see, is not here. He's in Florida suffering for Jesus down there. No, he's at an ABHE conference. So remember him in prayer. And Gary Gramacki is obviously, he had some surgery. So remember Gary in prayer. There he had some skin cancer. I don't know if you want to say anything about it or.
Well, just saw the doctor and said it's improved, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, you bet. Anything else we could pray about? Things that we're aware of, things that we want to share? All right, then, Josh, would you lead us in a word of prayer? Lead us out.
Yes. Let's pray. Father God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the time that you've given to us to come together. Lord, we pray that you would bless it and our conversation. Lord, we remember those among us, faculty, staff, students who are hurting for one reason or another. Many have lost loved ones recently. Lord, Dr. Granados with his aunts, and students, Layla Harmon losing her grandfather, and Lord, just many who are grieving the lost loved ones. And Father, you are the God of all comfort. Lord, we pray that even when words fail us, that you would comfort the hearts of those who are grieving. Think of Dr. Washington and her family. Lord, comfort them with the loss of this young individual. And Lord, pray that in the midst of that, your word, the gospel, can continue to go forth. Lord, help us to be attentive and sensitive to others who are going through difficult circumstances. And Lord, help us to be the hands and feet of Jesus in the midst of that as we come alongside and help them in the midst of their grief. Lord, we pray for others who need healing, Dr. Gramacki, Lord, and others who've had procedures or surgeries. Lord, may you heal them. Father, help our students as we come to close in a couple weeks this cycle. Lord, help them to balance the things they have on their plate. Pray especially for our basketball teams as they travel and compete, Lord, and also continue to balance their schoolwork and other responsibilities. And so help our students to be able to focus well. May you bless this time and the things that we have to talk about. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Josh. Take out your agenda for the meeting or listen up. Have your calendar out so we go through all these dates, and I'm just going to read through all the dates here. I was thinking, well, Josh is praying. The email that came around, just to clarify, for tomorrow, there are no classes, no online classes either. Everything's been canceled. Is that evening as well? I'm looking at Jackie.
That didn't run through the academic office.
Oh, that's Dr. Granado's office, is John, would you know? No.
The parade is in the early afternoon.
Yeah.
I told my class we're meeting
Okay,
the evening class.
that's up to you.
PhD classes meet.
That's up to you. And it probably your students are here, even a number of them. So great. Any questions about tomorrow? Good, let's press ahead then. Going through the agenda, Cycle 5, Session 2 of spring. I have the classes published. They're in Canvas, should have been on Monday. And if you're like me, you still have to make sure everything's up. Grades for Spring 24, Session 1 due March 15th. For Session 2 due May 17th for the grades due. Attendance verification report, we've got the first one done here, January 29th. Special report, anyone do that? And then report number 2 for Cycle 5, Session 1 is March 1st. Spring Session 2, first reports due April 1st. I don't think that's an April Fool's joke for us, so let's make sure we got it done. Gary would appreciate that. Report number 2, May 3rd there, right before the end of the, or right at the end of the cycle. Wednesday, 21st, Dina student applicant Ron Sharp on campus. He's going to be speaking in chapel, so everyone be there to hear him. And then an interview in the afternoon, 3:15, up in the Gangle room. Anything to say about that? You
Please
want to
come.
add? Pardon?
Please come.
Please come.
Mhm.
All right. But come and hear him, and then come and join for the conversation. Is his vitae going to be out somewhere?
Yes, I think I
It
did
was
send
emailed
it.
out.
in one
All right, it's
email,
already
but
up.
I can
Okay.
resend it.
I just don't remember that personally. Academic Department chapels, we've had the first one for the spring at the end of January, the second one there on the 15th of March, and the third on the 15th of April. Notice the Friday there on the 15th of March. Workshops, you saw a handout that came around with the agenda. So go and refer to those. February 22nd coming up, both of them, and the Warriors Nook, both of them at 11 o'clock. February 22nd, April 2nd, but both of them have homework. You saw that at the end of the one that we had before. Should we bring that homework or email it to you or both?
Bring it.
Bring it, just bring it. We don't have
If you
to,
can't come, email it to us,
okay.
just so we can use it in our little.
So it's
thing that we're-
just a matter of talking. It's not something you have to have seen, you all have to have seen before.
Correct.
Right.
I
Josh.
was just, that particular workshop happened while we were in the midst of coaching. So I don't know what my homework is, because I had to miss half of it.
Sorry, the deadline has passed.
What's that? Okay. Oh, well.
You can apply by extension.
Can't we say it's in the PowerPoint? It's the last page of the PowerPoint. Isn't that
I'll
it?
email you that.
Yeah, it's just bringing, we're going to be discussing discussion boards and what that looks like and how do you make your discussion boards dynamic. So if you can bring an example of a discussion topic or a question that you have used that's generated a lot of student interest and engagement so that we can kind of try to do some comparisons.
Will you accept late assignments if we? There will also be assignments. I don't know if you've noticed there on that handout. We're going to do the same thing in April. So this is good interaction. Keep it going. Anybody else? Other questions? Athletic progress reports. We had one in January. If you have students that are in that, and as I understand it, it's just going into that online file and verifying at the dates. And so you see the due dates if you have students that affects. They're in here February this week, then in March and April, the 28th of March and the 18th of April. General recital, we had one this afternoon here on the 13th. Another one, and they both meet they all meet in the Vandermeer room. The next two in March, they're the 19th and the 4th, or May the 23rd. Come and encourage the students. It's a neat time where they're getting up, doing their pieces. And so if you like music or drama, come join them. Fall 24, looking ahead. We've already refined our courses there, that first item. But the second item for all of us are fall 24 syllabi due to the academic office on the 20th. So that means to our department chairs before. So department chairs, make sure you communicate when you want to see them before, which is probably here this Thursday, Friday. So then they can get them to the chief academic office there on the 20th, Monday the 20th. Questions, comments, anybody? And the shells, then you can see the date, March 31st, making sure those are up. Questions, comments on this page?
The 20th is a Tuesday.
Okay. It's always the 20th, so I got the date wrong.
So it's the 20th.
Monday.
Is that when you want them?
The 20th.
The 20th.
Okay.
So disregard Monday, go with the 20th. Good. Flip of the page, applications for promotion and rank due to the academic office by this Friday, if you'd like to be considered. That also means that you need to have coordinated with your department chair before that, so they can give their recommendations also by the same date, as I see that. And then it's going to be discussed and acted upon. Jackie sent around an extra email that just was included with our agenda email, but just to make sure it got sent out, so you all saw that. Fall 23 SRI response forms. We've already received those. If you haven't, see Jackie, make sure she gets that information to you. Be sure to submit it to your department chair by the 3rd of March, or the 22nd of March. I was looking at 3. And then the department chair back by April 10th to Dr. Bittner's office. Calendar dates, spring breaks. You see the dates. We're still going to be around. No classes though. Good Friday, mark down the 29th, everything's closed. No classes off that day. Graduation, senior grades by May 1st. That's Wednesday, baccalaureate on the 3rd Friday. In addition to that, awards banquet dinner at the SLC. Last year, we had not request, we had to let you know. Do you anticipate that's going to be something? We're going to do the same thing?
Probably be very similar to last year.
All right. Where we only come if we need to be involved. Is that sort of like what you think? Pardon?
It depends on how many seats we have available.
Yeah, right. You'll let us know that as we get down the road. Then commencement on Saturday, the 4th, there at South Haven Baptist, South Haven Baptist Church there in Belton. Academic assessment reports, 23rd of May to Dr. Bittner. Questions on all of that? Clarification anyone would need or want to make? All right, looking ahead to fall 24, Jackie's put down here welcome week information. This feels like a week earlier than what we've done a lot in the past, right? For Welcome Week. Doesn't matter. Those are the dates. Go with it.
Okay.
My feel is we had the advance there that first week of August, then a week off, and then registration, but
I think that the advance will be August 6th.
6th, okay, whatever that is. So usually we have time, but make sure you put it on your calendars. For me, I go, oh, well. And notice all the different items. Registration, we have to have representation from all the departments there. Saturday, all the activities that will be going on and things that we want to be involved in, department representation there for the afternoon meetings. Sunday activities, Monday activities for sure, lunch on the lawn, and then the school picnic. So be looking ahead. Questions, comments, anybody? Dr. Bittner's down at New Business. Dr. Bittner's down at the ABHE conference going on right now in Orlando, making a presentation. Do you know what day he made that? Making it?
Thursday.
He's going to make that Thursday. Good. Pray for him to be clear and have a good day doing that. Update on the 24 workday. Gary.
As Dr. Bittner's been talking, April 11th and 12th is the big Midwest Christian School academic meet that we have here on campus with 600-700 students and parents and teachers and families, and it'll be crowded. But since all of it is here at Calvary, instead of using Blue Ridge, we use Blue River Bible Church as well for a little bit of it. Most of it's going to be right here. We're going to be using East Ed, this building, the Sabre building, basically every classroom we have for the academic meet. But there's a lot going on with that. With that, there's a committee that meets, talk about all the details, but the work day, the day before, one of the things that I'll get to later with the retention committee is the students have asked that we look at the physical appearance of the campus. And so the cabinet has decided that we can do work days again, one in the spring, one in the fall. And so the one in the spring is the day before the academic meet, so we can get things ready for it. Part of the day will be setting up for the meet. We'll have the details for that later. We'll have to set up the different classrooms for the meet. And then other work projects as well, kind of tidy things up so the campus looks nice for all of our guests. So because of that, yes, classes are canceled on Thursday and Friday. There are a couple of classes on Thursday evening in East Ed. Dr. Dodge, you have one of them that we'll probably need to cancel, do online or something. There's a math class as well. The ones over in the Sabre building, I think we're okay because those classrooms can be set up like they are. I know Dr. Gramacki has a class and Joel Williamson has a class in the Sabre, but those should be okay. But the daytime classes will need to be canceled. So that's work day. The actual festival is a huge thing, and we're all going to need to be helping with that. There will be students as well that will be working for the workday, helping us do stuff around, but we'll need faculty as well to kind of help the students with the various projects. But then the same thing on the actual academic meet. We'll need everybody's help with that because of so many people. And we have, again, meetings with all of those things. But for you all, probably the biggest thing is Tim and his group have been talking about some things to engage the students and the parents about Calvary. So Tim, you want to share a little bit about what your plans are?
Sure, we've actually made a lot of really good decisions so far. And the department heads have been in all the emails about this, so you guys should be pretty aware of it. I guess all faculty might help you to know that Chris and I identified like what the highest traffic areas would be and tried to find rooms that were not in use by the festival itself. And into the ed building is going to be high traffic by both students and parents. Anita's graciously offered her room up. Luther's going to be using that to set up the counseling department. On the right, the Christian ministry office, Anita's graciously use that. The education department will be set up in there. Business will be set down just a couple steps further to the left in the faculty office that Becca, Hal, and Heather use. The movie room in the not FLC, the Warrior Cafe downstairs here, is going to be set up for two purposes. One, Christian Ministries will be there. Sean is going to, I don't know if he's talked to you already, Mike, but what did I say?
Christian Ministries.
A little different. Oh, yeah,
Sean LePage's.
that's right. Yeah. Okay.
So it's Donita you're talking about,
Sorry. Yeah.
Christian ministry?
No. I'm talking about ministry studies. Ministry studies. Sorry. Yeah.
That's
Christian ministry. So ministry studies is going to have that. Sean will set up with Josh and you there. There'll be just 3 interruptions in the day in which Chris is offering an incentive to students who come in and listen to a presentation about Calvary. So that will actually, I think, really benefit you guys being in that room. So I've asked Ian to check with the music department to see if they would like a similar thing arrangement that day. We would have to figure out where that would need to be, but I know they are likely to be far more busy that day than anyone else. But this is a really great start. What we're encouraging the department chairs to do, we've heard a lot of great ideas about this, is to kind of create, and last but not least, I'll be in my office, but I'm staying in my office because, let's face it, how many English students are going to get versus, some of the other departments. So, but like in my office, I'm going to set up this huge table of clay where people can I'm going to have like a creativity office, because I attract people who are creatives, right? Have this, come on. So, we're encouraging you guys to not just, set up a table with brochures. We're encouraging you to actually do things that bring students in. Yes, resort to tactics like coffee and cookies and games and swag or whatever else. But, and I know it's tough because, there's limited materials, et cetera, but we're just, Chris is going to be really handling the presentation to the students about Calvary itself. What we really want the department chairs to do is be able to actually have a moment to connect with the student personally, because that makes a big difference. It's more than just putting a brochure in their hand about Calvary. It's actually making a personal connection, talking to students about their goals, et cetera. So that's where we're at, and I'm pretty pleased with the decisions we've made so far. And and if, as a department chair, you need anything that you're wondering how you can get your hands on or something, do let us know. I'm not promising, but we will do whatever we can to support you guys in setting up your areas. And if you need an extra set of hands to set up your areas, please let the faculty recruiting task force know. So
Good.
there you go.
And there's a lot going on, and those of you that aren't actually involved in those little, meet and greet things, we can still use a lot of help, basically as bouncers. Right. Because any kids around, you have to say, don't go in that built room, or, just directing traffic, answering questions, just everywhere, because there's people all over the place, and asking questions. So that's basically it. We'll need some help after the thing's over, setting classrooms back up for Monday morning as well. More hands make light work. So that specifics will be coming out later, but that's kind of the whole. That's kind of the overview of it.
And you mentioned that we have that Thursday off, right?
Yes, Thursday and Friday, no
Thursday
classes.
and Friday, right? No classes either day.
Both days, no classes. Correct.
Okay.
Evening classes are kind of,
There would be places for an evening class to meet,
right.
but whether we want to have them or not.
Not in East Ed, because things will be totally set up differently. But Sabre will be okay.
Questions,
Any other
anybody?
questions about what
Any
we-
questions online about this? I'm just wondering if departments are thinking, a question I had, Gary, would be, in the last time you had a sign up, if I remember right, that we faculty go around, but if you're saying you want us to be at a specific place for our department, and that means we can't do other things at the same time.
Right, the department chairs will be working with Tim on doing their,
Right.
you know, thing.
So
So if you're
mine-
not involved in one of those specific, sitting there answering adult questions, then we can use you other places.
Okay, so
That's
if we're,
still- that's still all in
Like,
process.
I'm not telling you, like, you
Yeah.
just work that out with Sean, you know, whoever wants to be
yeah,
at the
right.
ministry studies thing, you know, that's fine. But yes, that does, the reality is that because the department chairs are doing this, that just pulls more potential volunteers
Right.
away from
Yeah,
a lot of the other things we
have-
need, so we need everybody else to
Like,
kind of step
A lot
up.
of the music
Yeah,
students
right.
are helping out on Friday, and we got Blue Ridge students that Dorothy, you know, requires to do stuff. And so we're still in process of figuring out who's doing what.
yeah.
Security will be involved, the FAA will be busy. So
Just pray it
Jamie's
doesn't
working on
rain.
getting us names and who's doing what, and
Yeah,
that's still in process.
that's cool. And that's February, or not
April
February, we're in
11th.
February, it's April 11th to 12th. What we got coming. Have all the department chairs been given a heads up? They we're allowing you to do something special wherever you want to?
That's up to them.
Have all the department chairs been contacted yet?
Yes, all the department chairs have been contacted,
Okay,
so they've all,
I have my
Okay.
responsibility
Right.
yep,
from 8 to 4.
right,
I have to manage the first floor at the east end.
right. So, yeah, that's why it's kind of a few. Completely. Yeah.
yeah. Any other questions? I mean, there'll be more questions that'll come up, but what you got right now? Good. So Tim will be a contact point, is what I'm hearing for the department chairs, if they got further questions.
Right. Or need assistance. Or,
Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody online question about this? All right. Gary, anything left? Let's go to our committee reports. They're just going to our ACC. Who's representing ACC today, Gary?
That's me again. Pretty much whatever the faculty senate has voted on, we also vote on it. But there's been a lot of catalog verbiage we've had to update. For not only the one that's online now, but for the one that's coming out next summer. We had to discuss this new financial aid where graduate level students, full-time, will be 6 hours instead of 9 hours. That'll take effect in the fall. We dropped some PE courses from the catalog because they haven't been in forever, and we have outdoor adventure leadership classes that they can use. In Bible, the book of Acts was a 2-hour class. Now it's a 3-hour class, which helped out the intercultural studies planners. So those are the main things.
Institutional effectiveness, anyone speaking to that today? We already heard the assessment report reminder coming up there later in April. Retention?
Back to me. Retention, we had our meeting this morning, and this year we're working on 5 areas that we recognized from students' input last year that we're trying to help improve, to try to help improve retention from year to year. And the things that came out are career services, which means, you know, basically help me find what I want to do in the future. So we're working on that. We're going to be giving CSI testing next in August with the orientation. Kind of helps them see, get a picture of that, what they might be good at. Counseling services, which is basically Jamie and the dean's department, and there's just too much there. So, but we've seen students have mentioned that they need somebody to talk to. for various issues. We're looking at how to deal with that. The third area that we talked about quite a bit was communication between faculty, staff, and students. And the biggest thing there is they said a lot of times they've done something and try to reach out and don't hear back as quickly as they'd like to, and it's frustrating. So we've discussed ways to do, want to keep bringing it up before the faculty that, make sure that when a student asks, whether it's by email or leave a message, if nothing else, we're all busy and we can't get everything graded that night, but at least let them know, hey, I'm working on it. It's on my pile and I should have it to you by Friday or next week or something, just so they're aware, so that they don't feel left out in the cold. We talked about another area was retaining our minority students and how to make them feel more accepted and welcome. They do feel good, but we're trying to make sure we get that improved even more. And then the last one was, like we talked about earlier, the physical environment, just trying to make things look sharp. We talked today especially about the signs on the buildings that are hanging and that kind of stuff, and trying to make those look better. Anything, some of you are on the committee that are here, anything else that we missed? Okay, Jamie gives us a thumbs up, so.
I was wondering if you guys are having a hard time finding who the athletic faculty updates Excel spreadsheet to color code it, or if it's easier just to write me an email and say, hey, I'm having a concern about this particular player, and you don't want to spend your time trying to find it or track it down. But I'm fine if you guys want to just email me and let me know some students who are struggling in your classes. That's okay too. What we don't want to have is students who are failing their classes and I am not aware until it's too late, or the coaches are not aware until it's too late, because they're asking me, are they doing okay in the classes? Do you know? And right now I'm having to tell them, I don't really know. What would work better for you guys?
You're needing timeliness of report. What will help us?
When did you last send that?
It's already on the faculty files.
I personally, for me, it's looking at emails rather than having to go search for something. So if you send me something, I'd much rather look at that.
Okay.
And then get a reply.
So on those dates where the progress
I don't like
report,
going to
or
look for something.
week before or day before?
Yeah, I mean, Jackie sent out something about it a couple weeks ago. And I didn't hear a response back from anybody. So everybody, all the students must be doing good.
Actually, I had to basketball guys who are doing great this semester with my class.
Okay.
So,
Good.
Probably wouldn't hurt, they just said thumbs up, and we know.
Yeah.
Big part of retention. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Steering committee, I'm assuming Dr. Bittner would speak to that, but anyone else? He'll talk to that next month. Admissions. Somebody give us an update. Library, Tiffany.
We've been serving students with connecting them to resources. We have just completed the iPads for last year and noticed that with switching to Mobius, encouraging students to use it, we had a very large increase of requested materials. So that was really exciting for us, and it definitely shows. We spent a lot of time pulling those and receiving those. But that was very exciting. Continue to send students who need help finding resources to the library so we can help them get connected to them, because sometimes even though they go through multiple classes, they still say they don't know where to find resources. So point them here and we're happy to help them.
Cool. Questions, anybody? About the CAC, Becca ahead.
Becca had to leave, but she said to let everybody know that there's a new student who is new to our school that has applied to be a CAC tutor, Josh Zosky. And she'd be interested to hear from anyone who wants to give him a thumbs up or a thumbs down for that role. Since he's so new, she doesn't know that much about him. So if anybody has any commendations or concerns, could you email Becca for that?
The name again of the student is Joshua
Josh Zoschke.
Joski.
Zoschke.
I stepped on your first part of it. Is it J-O? Josh?
Josh. And then the last is Zoschke.
Oh, Zoski. Zoski.
His parents were both here
Yes, right. And a brother was here and, yeah.
in Lakozashki's.
All right, accommodations. Anybody speak to that office? Yes,
Nothing, everything's,
nothing.
it's great.
It's all good. It's kosher. Gary, you want to say anything else? Registrar.
Graduation. That's what I'm working on a lot. Schedules. We do have 51 people to graduate. 12 of them already did in December, but 51 of them will recognize. 2 getting a one-year certificate, 1 getting an associate's, 39 bachelors and 9 masters. Stuff has been ordered. The Lockman Bibles are in. The diplomas are in.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Covers are in. The KO stoles are in. Cords have been ordered. They should be arriving soon, and regalia should be arriving soon also. The grad survey has been sent out. The ABHE Bible test has been sent out. Dr. Bittner and I are working on the grad or the gen ed testing, which should go out in another week or so.
And you just sent an email about the awards.
Yeah, and the awards, if you can give me that, I think I said next Friday. I know who your award winners are, so I can get certificates made up. So I'll be sending a reminder, but yeah.
Somebody have a question, comment?
I thought I heard another question somewhere.
Class advisors, who's freshman? I don't remember all
That's
these.
me.
Okay, yes.
So the freshmen have a winter social coming up this Sunday, and they would love to have as many staff or faculty that want to come. It's going to be here on campus at the SLC. It's a Western theme, cowboy, cowgirl. They're also doing a chili cook-off, so if anybody would like to submit a pot of chili, that would be very helpful. They're actually giving cash prizes for chili, for the award-winning chilies. So, yeah, I met with them today. They've been working fast and furious to get this together. So it's at 6:30 here at the SLC. They're going to have it set up with like outdoor games like cornhole, those kinds of things. They've got live music with some of the students providing some music.
The form was not completed.
That,
So I need to communicate.
yeah, I'm
And
working with
understand.
I'm working with Brittany on that. And so, yes, I know that I have to fill out that form.
Great. And the clarification, I'm just going to joke here. The clarification about the formal, I have seen formal Western wear.
Yes, there is formal.
There is such
Not
an
a
animal
formal.
out there, but it's not a formal. It's just good Western wear. That'll be cute. That'll be
Yeah.
great. Good time. Sophomore, who's up for sophomore class? Anybody online has sophomore? Junior then?
All right,
Ken?
yeah, this is Ian, yep. So, nothing really to report, just prodding the class leaders to keep the group, kind of thinking through and making plans.
Good. Are you, Ian, are you sophomore or junior?
He's junior.
He's junior.
Junior.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Nothing for the sophomores? Good, good, good. Senior, they're looking at a gift. They've got some ideas that are working. So they have a speaker for baccalaureate and they're trying to get a gift together. Deans, let's go through the deans. Luther, dean of the college, anything to report for the college? Thing we need to talk
Yeah,
about?
just the SRIs. I know that some of you guys have had your SRIs sent out, so I've already got a couple of them. So thanks for those who have submitted them, but just reminder to get those in so that I can get those to Jackie.
Good. We echo the same with you. Jerry, anything for the graduate school?
Oh,
Has she taken off already?
Yes.
she has taken off.
I was looking at 4, so.
She has taken off. She said somebody's going to be representing her later for faculty senate, but
Okay.
everything else.
Great. Nothing to report from the seminary. Gary, on the PhD? Anything to report?
We just have 20 PhD students, which is good, taking courses, and including 5 in the research and writing courses.
Right. They're in their dissertation
Yeah.
phase.
5 of them are in dissertation.
Burnham Center. Josh, anything?
Next thing coming up, I have 3 students and a boyfriend going to Wyoming over spring break.
Cool.
And then trying to see if I can get a group of students to do the Amazing Race with the weekend after that. It's a little tight, so it might not happen. That's all that's kind of immediately coming up.
Yeah, that's great. Nikeo? Anybody report on Nikeo? All right, CU Press, 9th edition. If you have an article in process, if you get it to me by the 5th of April, the beginning of April, book reviews mid to end of April would be really good. We're putting the 9th edition together. Just got another submission of an article today. I'm working with an author for a book and dialoguing with another one about a possible manuscript in the future. Before we shift to faculty senate, there are some, all I think is committee, clubs that are out there. For example, Declan Killian came and asked about the theology club. There's a number of club ideas that are going on. Support those is definitely a good thing. Declan would like to have a debate to faculty on a topic. All right. Other clubs that would like to have participation from us, those are good things. Anyone else before we finish our business and turn it over to, yes.
I've been working with John for Feast and Fund, and he sent out 2 different flyers via email, but I have printed them and can get them laminated if it would be helpful for people who want to try to talk to. We're still looking for more business partners, so this can be a helpful tool, or you can send it out via email. Looking for like table sponsors for the night, or just people to let them know about coming. There's some cool things happening. We've got some Chiefs gear that's going to be auctioned off. We've got some trips again. We're going to have an artist there painting live through the evening, and then her art will be auctioned off at the end of the night. So it's going to be a great night. And if anybody wants a copy of this that I can laminate, I'll be happy to do that for you.
Great.
My thought is that, like, I'm going to talk to my dentist and see if he wants to help sponsor. There's sponsorships all the way from like $25,000 down to $500. So it's not a huge commitment that you're necessarily asking for. So even businesses that you frequent often, it's just a way to kind of get our name out into the community.
And their name recognized.
And their name
on that night.
recognized
Sure.
in our program.
Yeah.
So
When is the Feast and Fun?
when? March 22nd.
Month away, month and a half.
Another cool thing, we have some business people on the committee who are helping promote for Calvary, and so Hy-Vee has offered to donate all the food for that night. So in order to help us raise our, raise the amount that we're, lower the amount we're spending and raise the amount we're bringing in. So
Yeah.
It's going to be a good night.
Let's go around the room before I turn it over to Dr. Paxton. Karen, anything else you'd have?
Yes, Becca Howell asked if I could ask a question because she had to leave to go to the dentist. Do we offer a world religions class?
We did.
We did.
We did.
We used to.
It was just slated to be removed from the catalog because it's not in any particular program right now.
Okay.
So the question is?
And so she said, why are we not, and why is it not required for people going into ministry, was her question.
Since I've been here, it's never been taught. That's why we're looking at taking it out of the catalog.
Now, Dr. Miller taught something a long time ago, is what I remember. I don't know if it was that same class, but he was the only one that did something like that I remember.
Somebody been requesting this, or why is this coming up?
Because it's a need among our students. We write essays in Comp 2. We encourage students to openly question anything. And it has come up just in my own conversations with them. Well, you either have a question now or have a question in the lead, right? So you know what happens then. So without an exposure to the options, it's possible for these students to do those options or to, it's better, I think, to address what those options are here, help them see the uniqueness of Christianity. But I'm just echoing what we see in Comp 2.
So a little bit of history. It was in the intercultural studies minor. It was taken out of the minor because 2 other classes were bumped from 2 hours to 3 hours, and so something needed to drop out in order to balance the hours in the minor. Within the intercultural studies program, we actually cover a lot of that content within the context of the cross-cultural communication class.
Yeah.
So the cross-cultural communication class we cover. What's that?
Can I suggest something?
Can I interrupt? Josh is going to come back and talk about this very issue, and you were just, Josh, talking in the other way. Could you come back up later when you do your,
Oh, sure.
and could you hold off till he talks about it then? Because then we could talk to the issue for sure, because that's something we need to discuss, sounds like.
It's on the agenda for later.
Yeah, right, that's what I was saying. Let's go around. Tim, you have anything else? John? Gary? Yeah. Ladies across the back? Gary, any other shot? Jackie? Cool. Anyone online? Ian, Luther? Jackie, you're sitting here.
Nope, I have nothing.
All right, be sure to jump in later. Dr. Paxton, Faculty Senate is convening.
Okay, I am going to skip the top thing on the agenda, and we can work through the curricular changes, and then I'll come back to the top one because it's probably going to involve a little bit more discussion. So skipping down, since I am the Intercultural Studies Program Director, we have previously approved a master's course, Intercultural Education. So the course number and the course description were approved, but the syllabi and the course worksheet also need to be approved. And so those were sent out when Jackie initially sent the email. But this is a class that is in the Master's in Education and Christian Education program. So I will take a motion to approve the syllabus and Carnegie worksheet course checklist for IC 646. Gary, second. Okay. That guy, the ministry studies guy. Any discussion, any questions? Awesome. Oh, yes, Mary. Dr. Briggs.
This class is actually not on the Christian education.
What's that?
It's not on.
That's right. Yeah, it was initially created to be part of that program, and then the program was redone a little bit. So it's not actually in there. It's not actually in the program anymore. Eventually, when we have a master's in intercultural studies, it will be in that program. Which is slowly being worked on in my spare time. So all those in favor, raise your physical or electronic hands. And anyone opposed? All right, that is approved. Department Chair of Business Administration. So first of all, she wants to add another micro certificate. You see the outline for that down there. Corporate Culture Micro Certificate, BU 221, SS 249, BU 315, BU 332. Was this, Jackie, do you know, was this particular micro certificate included in the pre-approved list of micro certificates?
It was not.
It was not.
One that we had for the business department at that time had courses that didn't hit every year in the rotation, but this would be an option where every course would be offered in 1 year, so we could get it started sooner
Okay.
than the other.
So this is a better option because you can start it automatically. Sweet. Then I will take a motion to approve this micro certificate. So Dr. Dodds, second. So Tiffany, any questions? Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, raise your physical or electronic hands. And anybody opposed? Okay, next. Removing BU 201, accounting for managers as a prerequisite for BU 210. Foundations of accounting, BU 201 is no longer required for business administration majors or minors. And it's removed from the catalog. So it doesn't make any sense for it to be a prerequisite for anything. So on that note, motion. So Karen, second. Gary, I saw that hand. All those in favor? Awesome. Anybody opposed? Sorry, I'm trying to do my due diligence. No, okay. Next, replacing BU 320 with BU 324, business finance. Because they overlap in content. BU 324 is a required course. And the OAL minor is the only one that requires BU 320. So I guess maybe Tressa could speak to that if she wanted to. But so motion to approve this change. That guy who's my boss, who I can't think of his name. Second.
Sean.
I'm just messing with you, Sean. Do I have a second? All right, Gary. Come on, business meetings are like, so I got to liven it up just a little bit. Any discussion? Tressa, anything? No?
Just trying to make it more relevant.
Yep. So all those in favor, raise your physical or electronic hands. Awesome. Anybody opposed? Nope. And then there are several business courses to be removed from the catalog. They're not included in any planners. So motion to approve removing the following courses. Tressa, second. So Dr. Dodds, any discussion on removing those? Karen has her hand up.
So when you're taking these out, like interpersonal skills, is that taught someplace else? Is that what's going on, that they redone the syllabi in other places?
Yeah, all of these have already been implemented in the newer classes that we're teaching right now.
Okay. I was just thinking interpersonal skills might be a really great.
That's all involved in the emotional intelligence class.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor of removing these courses, raise your hands. Anybody opposed? Okay. And the last business one, new business administration course. Syllabi, course development checklist, and Carnegie sheets, I believe, yes. So the name and number have already been approved. So similar to the intercultural studies course, we just need to approve the syllabus, the checklist, and Carnegie sheets for BU 324 business finance. So can I have a motion to approve? So Sean, second. Tiffany, any questions, discussion? All those in favor, raise the hands. Anybody opposed? We're getting our exercise in today. All right. Bible Theology Department Chair. Propose removing TH 114 Survey of Theology from the catalog. It was removed from the AA, and the one-year certificate was replaced with these other courses. Has not been offered for more than 2 years, and no plan to offer this course since it's not required on any planner. So, anything to add, Gary?
No, I'll make a motion that we remove it.
All right, so Gary has moved. Do I have a second? Sean?
I'll second. You got it. Okay, cool.
What's that, Ian?
Ian's
I'll second.
Okay, Ian stole it, Sean. I'm sorry. You know, it's his department. All those in favor, raise your hands. Anybody opposed? All right. So everybody, you remember the old deodorant commercial? Raise your hand if you're sure. Next one, revision to course descriptions. So we have several doctoral course descriptions. Looks like the dissertation fee is increasing by $50.
We need to talk about this because I met with Dr. Bittner about these courses, and first of all, the BT 716, I talked to Gary about this, right, in the ACC. We have another sheet, which I don't know if it was given or not. We have students who did not complete 75 pages of their dissertation in the regularly scheduled session. And so we gave them extension, but apparently they were not showing up as students because the extension doesn't include, I don't know, their presence in class. So that was sort of a conundrum there. So the proposal involves creating 4 new courses. BT 716A, BT 717A, BT 718A, and BT 719A. And each one of those reads, this course is a continuation of, for the BT 716A, it's a continuation of BT 716, where the student will research and write the first 75 pages of dissertation. I talked to Dr. Bittner, and he agreed that the original wording on this sheet was maybe repeated once, that we would strike once, and it would just be maybe repeated. So the idea is that they don't get it done. Hopefully they get it done in, another 8 weeks. So that'd be like 16 weeks to write 75 pages. But
So these are extensions.
yeah, and I don't.
Not this on the faculty senate agenda. That's what's going to the ACC the next time because it's degree requirements. So it doesn't have to go through faculty senate.
It doesn't have to go through faculty senate. Okay. So strike all that.
So we don't need to vote on this.
Strike all that. But
On
I did have a question about the fee being included in the course description because, initially it was $500 and the students are in the sequence. And basically we're increasing the fee, which, for 4 courses, that's $200 more. I wasn't sure. I wasn't actually in the meeting where this was discussed. So I'm not sure about it.
It kind of sounds to me like this needs to be tabled until there's a little more clarity on what we're actually approving. Gary?
What, this came to me through the cabinet.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It
Yeah.
came down from there, but I didn't get a chance to talk to any cabinet member.
Right.
I'm just saying, basically, the students started this sequence. Some of them are just, they had just finished all their coursework, finished all their comps. They start the sequence. $500, I think everybody needs to understand for the faculty, $500 per writing class is used to pay for the advisor and the reader.
Mhm.
Does not include the tuition. So they're paying tuition plus $500 for every dissertation, research, and writing course.
Mhm.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking about it here in this forum, and I don't know where else to ask, is that it was increased by the cabinet from 500 to 550. Some of my students, they're just getting started writing we're basically adding another $200. I don't know. It just seems like a lot, but I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what the other faculty members
Karen
have to
wants to say
about
something.
this in terms of increase of fees.
I do want to also say, I think it's good to table it because I think that we should do some research. I know that both Liberty and Grand Canyon University are getting hit by huge penalties from the federal government right now for that very thing of dissertation research classes being not clearly identified ahead of time for how long to anticipate a student will take.
Mhm.
And so I don't know if it's going to stand up, but it's in the news right now, and I've been contacted as a former student because
So what
situation.
was the government doing, attacking the whole idea of dissertation research and writing courses?
They're attacking the idea that it's not clear in the student's mind how we haven't set, the university itself didn't set appropriate expectations for how long the writing would take. And so, it's arbitrary. I don't know if it'll stand up, but I think that if we're talking about adding continuation classes, that we're going to put ourselves into that same category, and we should do some research.
So it's the kind of
Well, I guess
thing
the
where
question is
if,
whether we charge fees, or if these courses should be made into 16-week courses, so
And that's
that we
something
protect the
GCU does,
students a
yeah.
little bit. I don't know. The way it initially set up is 5 8-week, used to be cycles, now sessions, and each time they would be paying tuition, but the extra fee was for the advisor and the reader. That's the only way to compensate them. I'm not getting paid that because I, as a director of the program, I'm sort of supervising advisors, readers, and students. But I'm not getting paid all that extra money. But I wish, but
The extra 50?
I'm just wondering, because the guys just got started and they're gonna see, we just jumped the fee on them.
yeah, so if anything,
That did not come from me, and I just,
if there is going to
it was
be a
basically passed
change,
down to me. So
then
that's the
that
reason I'm
change
bringing it up here.
probably needs to be delayed to a certain extent. Like Karen is saying,
At least
if this is the
grandfathered in.
fee structure for where they started it, and that's what was communicated to them, then if you make a change, they should be able to finish with the existing fee structure, and then the change will come with whoever the next cohort is.
The next cohort.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I would.
So,
I would agree with that.
For now, we need to table the vote until that's worked out a little bit.
And I think increasing your time from being an 8-week class to a 12 or 16-week is also, that's part of what GCU has done. So there would be a precedent for that if we
Yeah.
wanted to try to do.
I think
The reason
8
I
weeks-
don't do
8
it
weeks is
that it
rough.
Extends the length of the program from 4 years to 5.
Mhm.
That's the reason. And for marketing purposes, it's better to, say you can do your dissertation in a year than 2 years. Yes.
Ask a question, Gary, if the student pays normal tuition, doesn't the instructor for that class get paid?
Technically, they're not the instructor because all they're doing, they're reading it.
All right, so none of the normal tuition fee that would go to a professor would go to them. That's why we're charging a fee on.
So, okay. So for now, we'll table that and, yeah, maybe dialogue with the cabinet a little more, come up with what that would look like. So, okay. From the registrar, request to remove courses from the catalog that have not been offered in several years. So we have Intro to Science, we have Basic Music Theory, and then World Religions. So back to the world religions discussion. Gary has something to add to this. It's like, okay, pardon me while I step away from the camera. So
world religions, since we
within the let me start there.
okay.
Because it might have a little bit of context. Within the intercultural studies program, world religions is covered in the worldview section of the cross-cultural communication class. So the students who are specifically preparing for missions ministry, they spend a lot of time talking about this kind of content. Because of that, it's not in any other program. So it would simply be an elective course that's hanging out here. I'd be all in favor of keeping it. I'd be all in favor of teaching it. It just hasn't been taught since Gary has been here, because it's not in a program somewhere.
Okay, so this is my proposal, since I've got the two evangelism and spiritual growth guys here. Because evangelism and spiritual growth class is required of all students at Calvary, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and you and Sean are teaching the course, correct?
Mhm.
So my suggestion is that since it's been switched from an 8-week course to a 16.
It's already a 16-week class.
That's what I'm saying, since it's 16 weeks, that you would take at least 1, possibly 2 weeks out of your 16 to teach how to witness to a Muslim, how to witness to a Buddhist, how to witness to a Jehovah's Witness, how to witness to a Mormon, and that you would introduce them to what they believe, basic beliefs, but how to interact with them. That's my proposal to you, Sean.
That's good for me.
I just know that our students in comp, it becomes very clear that as students talk about evangelism and apologetics and world religions, they are woefully unaware of the basics of the major world religion strains. And if they're going to have an intelligent conversation with a Muslim or a Buddhist, they need to be a lot better informed than they are. It doesn't matter to me if we have a specific class. I realize that adding a whole semester, right, is going to be a difficult thing, but at some point we need something that.
Yeah, I mean, Gary's got a good point. If there's a different place to cover that, if there's a different place where it's appropriate to cover that content, so then we're not running into issues. Like, I mean, one of the things I was going to come back with was if we have an elective, like we have so many students now who come in with transfer credit, or they come in with early college credit, or all manner of different things that they don't even have open electives. So having another class hanging out there for them to take isn't necessarily solving the problem. Right.
Dr. Briggs has something.
Our pastor's daughter is attending a secular university, and she is actively witnessing on campus. And because of that, she realized that she is limited in talking with people from different religions because she doesn't know enough. So she signed up for a world religions class this semester to gain that knowledge in order to be better prepared. So I agree that all of our students, instead of
You
an
know-
elective.
You don't want my opinion, because if you want my opinion, I'd require every single student to take cross-cultural communication, but Sean.
Well, I'm just wondering, are we saying here we want to make that a part of the suggestion to make it part of evangelism and spiritual life is, we're saying we want every student coming through here to take that, or are we talking about, a course for ministry studies students, or a course for intercultural studies students, or?
It sounds like it's something that every student needs to have, at least a basic foundation of how do they interact with people from other religions and explain the gospel.
Because
Am I
God
accurate in
has
that?
brought people from all over the world
Yeah.
to the US. And
Yeah.
so,
So it shouldn't just be in the intercultural studies class.
No.
And I understand what you're saying about your particular class being the emphasis for it, but the title of your class wouldn't necessarily communicate that it was a world religions class. You know, when I'm talking about intercultural communications, I'm not necessarily thinking that's as a student, I wouldn't necessarily make that connection that it's a world
Sure.
religions class.
Sure.
Um,
Which cultural anthropology is a prerequisite for that particular class.
But I would think that, I would agree that I think all of our students need to take a class in world religion. Or that includes world religions and includes these key points of these different religions and how we can, intelligently interact with them.
I mean, it can also be some, introduction to missions is about to become a 4-hour course, but it could also maybe be worked into there somehow.
All students take that?
Yeah.
Every single student has to take that. So, which we deal with worldview, in the last section of introduction to missions, we deal with cross-cultural communication, we deal with worldview issues, so it's honestly deeper than world religions. It's more theoretical in how you communicate to people with differing worldviews, as opposed to a world religions class, which is going to be more like, this is Islam, this is Hinduism, this is Buddhism. And so another option would be to put it in there.
could you introduce it in one and touch on it again in the other? So it's. more than
I mean,
just-
if we were going to do that way, I'd leave introduction to missions alone, and I put it into evangelism spiritual life. Because in introduction to missions, I'm looking to go deeper into worldview issues, which has to do with, thinking styles, cognitive process, how you think and how you communicate, and it's deeper level than just belief systems, which would be world religions. And so if world religions were in evangelism spiritual life, then they would be getting it in 2 different ways in 2 different courses.
Josh, can I recommend that we go ahead and remove this from the,
Yeah, we're having two different conversations. The
And
vote
then-
is simply removing the classes. The other conversation is, okay, we're recognizing that the world religions content is important, so where do we put it?
yeah, and I'm recommending that we go ahead and take care of this, but then maybe you and I talk about how to work that into evangelism spiritual life. And I'd be willing to also have a conversation with whoever else has any other ideas, because you're talking about a vast subject, and
I'd like to
frankly,
hear more from Tim on what you're seeing from the communications.
yeah, I'd like to hear more about that too, but frankly, I'm just thinking about the last time I taught evangelism spiritual life, frankly, there was a good number in that class that I'm not sure they understood the gospel, much less how to evangelize a Hindu or a Muslim. That was I think that's pretty far beyond their capabilities, at least the students I had last time.
I had
Not all of them, but
last
half the
week
class.
in class who, after working through a evangelism method, Right, two trees. Right. Yeah, that happens. That happens. So.
So this is a,
So
you're talking about world religions, you're talking about a vast subject and I mean, we could do a quick introduction to it, but we're not going to solve the problem of students being
regardless of
ignorant
what we do with the class, we can't necessarily require all students to take it. Like if this is a, right, that would mess everybody's planner up. So if this is an issue that we're recognizing students need more input on, then it's going to need to be in the context of either evangelism, spiritual life, or introduction. So to move the meeting forward, I'm gonna propose that we take a vote to remove these 3 classes, and then we can dialogue on where we might put that content later on, because we have another issue to get to. So I will entertain a motion to remove these 3 classes from the catalog. Karen, second. Gary, all those in favor, raise your physical or electronic hands. So, okay, and that is with the kind of caveat that we need to find a place for this content for world religions. So, back at the top, I know it's 4:30, but hold on. So as you all received your SRIs, I don't know about any of you, but I definitely noticed the paucity of responses to the SRIs. One case being in TH111, out of 35 students, 10 of them completed an SRI. Obviously, I'm not a mathematician, but that does things with the averages and everything. So the Institutional Effectiveness Committee discussed what we might do to encourage students more to fill out their SRIs. Back in the old days when everybody was in class and you just handed out the piece of paper the last day of class, it was really easy because they all just filled it out and turned it in. Now that we do everything online, they have to intentionally go there. And the instructions, I think Jackie sent out the list of instructions for where they have to go to fill out their SRIs. There's like 6 steps. And in the age that we live in, we all know that if you have to click more than one button to do anything technologically, it's not going to happen. So what we discussed, we did a little bit of incredibly academic research via Reddit to try and find what are other institutions doing to solve this particular problem. And we came up basically with 2 very similar ideas. One of those ideas was to tell students if a certain percentage of the class completes their SRIs, so say 80% of the class completes their student rating inventories, then everybody in the class gets a bonus. That bonus could be like, 10 points, 15 points, whatever it would be for the professor, although I kind of feel like we should standardize it a little bit. So that was one method, basically telling students when the SRI reports come through and everything, if 80% of the students in the class have completed them, then you all will get this kind of bonus to your grade. The other one, which is a little bit more complicated, is basically you could think of creating a 0 credit class or a 0 credit assignment in Canvas. And if however many students complete the SRI, you basically get 1%, a 1% or 1 point grade boost dependent upon how many students complete the SRI. So that one's a little bit complicated because it's like you instruct them, okay, whatever amount of you completes it, that's the bonus you get. So
out of 100 students in a class, for example, 57% of them complete an SRI, then they get 57 points, like 57 bonus points for their grade. Basically, I'm coming to you, kind of representing the Institutional Effectiveness Committee. And what are your thoughts on these two proposals? Is this something that you want to do? What we have done, so something that has been done in the past is basically students can't see their grade in Populi until they complete their SRI. But there's only a month-long window on that. And I think all of you are aware that students can log into Canvas and see their grade. So they don't need to log into Populi to see their grade. So we're holding something over them that we're not really holding over them in order to complete the SRI as it is right now. There are some logistical challenges to this particular proposal, okay? Meaning you would have to give the students, basically you'd have to give the students a window to complete their SRI. Jackie has to go in and get those results and turn it around to you guys. And so you can't turn your grades in for the first week after class because you have to give them time to complete their SRI in order to hopefully hit that percentage mark. So you'd be looking at finalizing your grades within that second week. So, Dr. Briggs.
I propose doing away with the SRIs.
Wow, that's
I
bold.
said-
You'll have to bring that up with Dr. Briggs.
Research shows that students respond to the SRIs at an emotional level, not an objective.
Don't just amen.
And so
I second.
they are,
Don't disagree.
they're not a valid form of data.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, I think a standardized SRI with a certain number of points that would automatically be put in Canvas for every course. So the student would take it, and they could actually, you could require that they take it prior to the last day of class. So that gives us our 2 weeks. We're not waiting 2 weeks. We're not waiting for students to take SRIs. I don't like that idea at all, to finalize grades. But the idea is that they would have to complete it the last week of the session, before the last day, and they would get a certain number of points, which would then, of course, figure into their final grade. You know, if it was worth 50 points and they got a 0, they would, if they forgot the first time, they wouldn't forget the second time. It would catch their attention, and it would be the professor would put an announcement, take your SRI to get 350 points. And I'm telling you, if the student had a low grade in a particular course, getting 50 points added to their, that would get their attention. So.
The chief problem I see with putting it in Canvas is it would not be anonymous for the student.
Or if they, that's what I was gonna ask, is how would we know if they filled out an SRI, if we're gonna keep it anonymous?
Well, yeah, if it's in
Or
Canvas,
somewhere else.
then it wouldn't be anonymous for the student.
Is there a way to do that? Does anybody know?
Jamie has something
Keep
to
it
say.
anonymous somehow?
Well, when I took classes this past summer at a different university, the last 2 weeks of class in my Canvas, a message bubble popped up on top that said, take your, I don't remember what they called them, but it was basically SRIs. And you had the option to click out of it, but if you click out of it, every single time I logged into Canvas, that came back up. And it's very annoying, because one class I was waiting to see how a professor responded to a situation before I went in and judged him. And not emotionally, very rationally. And when I clicked out of it, that time it went away, but then the next week it came back. So like, I think it was going to keep coming back until either the class closed or whatever. But when I clicked on it, it took me out of Canvas. It took me to wherever they lived anonymously. But that bubble there, it definitely.
I would say something about anonymous. I think there's something you said in the Christian university of somebody saying something and their name is behind what they're saying. And I'll tell you this because as a pastor, I've received anonymous notes. It's not a good practice for people to get in the habit of sending something critical anonymously. And it divides people in the church. So just my view on that. Somebody needs to have the courage to write down, if they don't like something in a class, talk to the professor about it. That's the biblical way. That's Matthew 18.
I don't necessarily disagree. I just wonder if there's other factors related to it, an educational environment which might need to be considered.
Well, I guess both of these suggestions, Mary and Gary, are they required for accreditation? Well, why do we do them? Why do we do SRIs? Is it required somehow, some way, or is it just kind of a good idea?
Accreditation requirement.
We do use this as evidence in accreditation visits. I don't
It's an
know.
evidence for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Assessments.
Whether it's
Yeah.
necessary evidence. And as far as doing away with SRIs completely, that would be a Dr. Bittner.
Let's just take a vote with Dr. Bittner gone. I think this is the best.
I'll go turn off the recording when
You can do
I
that.
second Mary's,
Completely
I second Mary's proposal.
I just don't think it's a credible source anymore. Because you're either getting the students who really, really love you.
Or the ones who
commenting
really,
or
really hate you.
Hey, Josh.
hate you, and there's
Luther
nothing
has
else.
something to say.
Luther. Well, yeah, I mean, Tressa looks like she's kind of covering just some of the things that I was going to share. If we are doing this SRI, and we're are we assuming that the students are being objective when they are doing this?
Kind of.
And
Kind of.
having that, are they taking it meaningfully or are they just breezing through it?
There's
See, I'm all for, I mean, it's nice that we're doing this for evidence to show that we are kind of underscoring, that we're showing that we're serious about academics, but I'm wondering, as the same concern that Dr. Briggs had mentioned, how do we know that they are being objective with their answers? It kind of concerns me that if they're not being objective, or if we are apprehensive of their objectivity, why would we implement things that they would suggest if we cannot determine the validity of their objectivity?
94.2% of colleges use systematic student evaluations in determining teaching performance. This is Department of Education.gov. My 2 cents here is that what I'm concerned about is how we use student evaluations in teacher performance, because it's so tempting, and the easiest thing to do is just take the numbers and say, oh, look, you got high evaluations this year. Oh, look, these are down a little bit from last year. Not all responses are valid. I look at those evaluations, and frankly, there are a number of suggestions I say, nope, not going to happen. Nope, I know who wrote this. Not interested in your. I'm sorry to be that harsh, but I some of these students have some pretty funny ideas about what a college course should be like. On the other hand, I do look at some of them and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And I would hate to miss out on the richness of that information. But what I am categorically against is just sort of looking at that number and saying, oh, that number is part of your job performance.
Yeah.
But Dr. Haynes, with all due respect, you're making this assessment yourself.
True.
You're not. It seems to me that this assessment is not being made individual to the instructor.
Wait, how do you mean?
So like you mentioned, the number itself, the number is looked at based upon the overall performance of the instructor. And that number, you know, if it's a low number based upon the scores that you get, you know, concerning the students, that determines whether or not you were an excellent teacher or professor or not. What you're talking about is that you're looking at the individual comments that they're making.
Correct.
And you're going, oh, I think that's a good idea. Oh, that I don't think that's not a good idea.
I also look at the numbers too. I mean, there are some students I've had, for instance, who are just incredibly inept at technology, right? And they'll say things like the course require, whatever. But yes, I hear what you're saying. Is your point that the comments are different than the numbers?
No,
And-
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm missing your point. So if you could restate.
No, my point is that just like as we were all talking about right now, it seems that the SRIs, again, it doesn't matter to me, but it seems that the SRIs, in terms of how the students, and of course we don't know because we can't go into their heads and ask them what their motivations are for doing this, but it seems to me like the SRIs have always been they've always been subjective to the students' favorability.
The discussion, and it can be revisited.
You just cut me off, Josh.
Things have other things that they want to do. If you guys want to continue to talk, though, that's okay. So.
Oh, so we're saying.
You can continue to talk if you want, but I'm ending the faculty meeting.
No,
That's
it's fine.
So
Yeah.
we can revisit this at the next faculty senate.
Luther, all I'm suggesting is that I think the comments are really helpful. I think the numbers can be helpful, but I think we have to, I think it's very dangerous because administration, managers are understandably metrics driven because it is the easiest way to make decisions. Look at a number, determine performance based on the number. Your numbers are up this year, you're a better teacher this year, right? Rather than, again, rather than we have to approach this with an understanding that there's a great deal of subjectivity here, and there's a great deal of variance among students based upon their own backgrounds that they bring, their own capabilities that they bring, and their own set of expectations. So I question the metric, but I also am not saying that I'm not suggesting that it's entirely unuseful. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sir.
Oh.
Were you done, Luther?
Yes.
Josh cut you off, so I was just wondering if you wanted to finish what you were saying.
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm just, we can continue discussing it. We'll probably bring it back at the next faculty senate meeting. But for the sake of everybody's time, we're gonna close the faculty meeting. So thanks, guys.
Right now. Thanks, Josh.
Okay.
I believe that's correct.
I mean, I think we'll-
Yeah.